I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna way I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. From the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person. I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always destined for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful January 1st. Did you eat any cabbage or black eyed peas or whatever the meat is y'all eat with that? Hey, Julie. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Sherry. Lori Phillips was charged with hit and run, resulting in death, and faces up to 25 years in prison. Prosecutors say she killed her husband Mark after the pair had argued following a night out drinking. Deputies with the La Crosse County Sheriff's Department were first called to the home after Lori called 911 in hysterics to report her husband was in a snowbank outside of their home. The deputies who first arrived on the scene described seeing Lori kneeling next to Mark's body. Lori was described by deputies as being extremely upset and emotional and told investigators that the couple had argued the night before and that her husband had been drinking. She said, "I didn't know he was out here, though, like this." Deputies said in the criminal complaint, deputies described her as giving a rambling statement, possibly saying she did not hurt him, she did not know what happened, and she did not know he was there. Doesn't that sound like Karen Reed? Exactly like Karen Reed. Drunken fight turns into a husband dead in a snowbank in the drive next to the driveway. I'm going to watch her trial and see how that turns out and maybe give us some hope or maybe not for Karen Reed. This is day one with the opening statements. Hold on. Also, I don't know what side to speed. I'm sorry. Oh, it's on normal. The this guy talks low, not into the microphone. I don't know why.
Mr. Phillips had been drinking all day long, from Bloody Marys and beers at 7:30 a.m. to a golf tournament, all the way until about 11:30 a.m. or 11:30 p.m. this evening when he came down home from the bar. Lori knew that he was upset, and she knew that he was broke. And she made a decision before Mark stumbled home. She locked the door. She said, "I don't want to deal with this. You're not going to be pleasant when you come home and you're drunk and you're angry." And she hoped that he would sleep it off in the man cave, which is a separate structure immediately adjacent to the house. Pretty nice man cave, has couches and a wood pellet stove and some other amenities. But Mr. Phillips didn't want to listen to that. He called his parents over to the house, began slamming himself into the door, eventually kicking it down, shattering it inwards, and rushing into the bedroom where Lori had been sleeping. In that position, Mr. Phillips lunged towards an end table immediately to Lori's side of the bed. That concerned her, because there were only two things on that end table. Number one, which she eventually ended up grabbing in the dark, was a remote control that controlled the settings on an overhead ceiling. The other was a loaded hand. Mark's physical and verbal abuse didn't stop, and Lori was able to call 911, prompting this response from the sheriff's department. You'll hear that when the officers arrived, Mark had already fled, but Sergeant Crenine concluded that was probable cause to arrest Mr. Phillips for disorderly conduct and criminal damage to property as domestic offenses. He was arrested the next day. You're going to hear that Lori did something that a lot of survivors of domestic abuse do. As the days and weeks went on, she started a roller statement back. She started recanting. She said, maybe this was my fault after all. Maybe I should have just let him back in. Maybe Mark didn't really mean to go for the gun. It's not what she was telling people simultaneously. And you'll hear that Lori eventually reached out to a member of Mark's family, happens to be an attorney, and say, I'm not scared of him. I want him. Lori's going to tell you that that wasn't actually the case. She felt some pressure, but at the same time, she loved him. She wasn't aware of exactly how toxic that relationship was at the time. Nevertheless, after that incident, Lori had some recognition that the relationship wasn't healthy. She broke things off with Mark, or at least suggested taking a break, moved out of the house, and got her own apartment in the city of Alaska. Mark wasn't ready to be done with her. Continued to monitor her, keep tabs on her, ask her who she's hanging around with, ask her what men are showing interest and showing up unannounced. That culminated in one terrifying evening from this house. You'll hear that once more. She knew that Mark had been drinking most of the day, that she would have been arguing across phone or social media or some other platform, and Lori had the sense that things just weren't going to go well. She had the sense that Mark was. So before she went to bed that evening, she closed her door, locked it, put the chain on, and then did something that she's never done. She attempted to come over and try to kick the door in. He would make that. After taking these steps, she went to bed, but didn't sleep. She woke up to the sound of her door crashing open. The locking mechanism in the door jam shattered. The next thing she knew, her ex-boyfriend was jumping on top of her in her bed in the middle of the night, pitch dark. He reeked of alcohol, but at the time she didn't know that because she couldn't breathe. He was strangling her. On top of her, had hands around her neck, and she couldn't breathe. And that's one of many times where Lori thought figured he wasn't going to stay alive. Mark let out. He was screaming and yelling about some man that he believed was interested in Lori. And Lori did what she always did. She submitted. Told him what she wanted, what he wanted to hear. Told him that there would never be anyone else other than Mark. The domestic abuse didn't stop after that point. Lori and Mark did get back together. Lori did move back into the home enrollment. And she'll tell you that during the course of their arguments, when Mark would get so out of control, she legitimately believed that any given argument would be the last thing that she heard. She'll tell you about going to sleep in the guest room and playing possum, freezing absolutely still, because when Mark appeared at the door jam, she believed that he was holding it down in his hand. And a lot of you might be asking the question, why would she keep coming back? What is she doing with this guy who's hurting her own? You're going to hear the answer throughout the course of this trial. Lori was so caught up in the cycle of power and control that she had no idea exactly how toxic this relationship was. Lori was so caught up in the belief that this man loved her intensely because of the outbursts of protecting her that she couldn't see exactly how out of control he was. And in December of 2018, two of them got her out. Lori figured that would be a fresh start. That if he loved her enough to marry her, he loved her enough to stop her. They figured that they would move to Bismarck, North Dakota, where Mark had recently been promoted at his work, and that with new people, they could have a fresh start. That didn't end up being the case. February 22nd started innocuously enough. Ms. Phillips had a couple of friends who wanted to have a goodbye dinner with her, Hannah Krinsky and Adam Stevens, and she and Mark went out to Sloopy's alma mater on the north side of the cross. By all accounts, that dinner was a good time. No drama, no food, had a couple drinks, and reminisced. And at one point, Ms. Krinsky mentioned that she and Adam were going to another bar on the south side of the cross. It's over by Carboni's now, Lower Avenue, then called the Dive Bar. And they're going there for a drawing of a large amount of cash, $1,500 or something like that. Lori and Mark figured it would be fun, so they tagged along. And that's where things started to take a turn. Because once they reached the dive bar, Mark started drinking more heavily. And beer after beer after beer, Lori recognized a sign that she's seen all too many times before. Mark was getting drunk. We know for a fact that Mark was drunk that evening because the most conservative estimate of his alcohol toxicology at the point of autopsy was a 0.149. For those of you who don't know or aren't keeping track, that's almost 2 times the legal limit to driving more than 50 miles. The highest value was a 0.204. And it was in this condition that Lori will tell you that she started to go on high alert. Whenever Mark got drunk is when the drama happened. So Lori would do everything in her power to not attract the attention of men, not talk to other men that Mark didn't bring over the table, and do nothing that could set him off. And that's where they came into contact with the gentleman that they both knew, a guy by the name of Scott Cundy. It's the type of encounter that all of us have had probably dozens of times in bars across the state. Came up and said, "Oh, hey, good to see you guys. You should stick around. This is coming. Terry LaFleur." Now, at the time, that didn't even mean anything. You're going to hear that her only connection to Mr. LaFleur was that they both used to bartend part-time at another bar that doesn't exist anymore, Goes Chapter 2, 20 years in the past. But Mr. Cundy pressed and said, "Well, Lori, you know Terry, right?" Indicating that the two of them had worked together before. And Lori's response was somewhat atypical, saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what does that mean? I've never slept with Terry." Trying to cut Mark off on the impression that Mr. LaFleur was coming there for some romantic purpose. Didn't work. Mr. Phillips immediately exploded, calling her a whore, blaming her for Mr. LaFleur coming out there, and repeatedly insisting that Lori just wanted to have sex with Mr. LaFleur. You're going to hear from others that were at that table, at the dive bar that evening, and talk about how Mr. Phillips was physically bringing the scene. It's not particularly high quality footage. I would say it's kind of akin to a VHS style security surveillance system. But you're going to see footage of Mr. Phillips at the dive bar table, flailing his arms, pounding his hands, hovering over Lori, and physically screaming at her during that time. And you're going to see at one point, it got severe enough where Hannah's father, Bob Klinsky, got up and tried to kind of half-heartedly break things up and give Lori a hug and say, "We're sure going to miss you," hoping that it would just dissolve the dispute. But it never happened. Lori knew that the night was unraveling, and she and Mark decided that they would go to another bar home for another bar. Lori figured that if they got away from that bar before Mr. LaFleur was going to show up, That would be the end of the drama, but it wasn't. When they got into the parking lot, who did they run into? Scott Cundy. Mr. Cundy had something to show them. Terry LaFleur had arrived. Laura's going to tell you that she had kind of an awkward hello. 30 seconds, a minute. They reminisced about the old days when they weren't that close to begin with. Got into the truck and left. She figured that was the end. It wasn't. Mark was white hot inside of that truck. He was furious. He was screaming that this was all his fault, or all her fault, that she really wanted to stay there and have sex with Mr. LaFleur. His anger reached the point that Lori became scared of him and said, please just take me back to my friends, Adam and Hannah. We can figure things out later. You'll hear Mark oblige that request. He turned around, parked in front of the dive bar, and that's where the first physical attack would be in the afternoon. After he parked the truck, Mark lunged over towards Lori, grabbed her head with enough force that he could force it down to the seats. You'll hear that in the course of this attack, his arm manipulated her earlobe to the point that her hearing came breaking out, showing that she had visible blood after she walked back into the bar. Mark climbed on top of Lori, put his elbow on top of her chest, all of his 220 pounds on top of her, and protruded his forearm, choking her across the room. Couldn't breathe. He had no idea what was happening. All the while, Mark was screaming that she just wanted to fuck Terry. Mark eventually let her up. But before he let her go, he did something else that Lori was familiar with. He demanded her cell phone. You're going to hear that Mark didn't like Lori having access to others who were having those types of disputes. And he took that phone from her regularly, but in this case, Lori certainly submitted to that request as well. She went back into the bar and eventually had a discussion with Hannah, who, at one point or another, was shocked enough that she said, I don't think you should move to North Dakota. I don't think you're safe. Now, Mr. Phillips comes back into the bar, and we know what he does because we're going to hear from the witnesses to this. Comes back in, he's creating a scene, he angrily points at her, and he says, get your fucking ass back to the truck. Screaming at her in front of everyone else. Lori wasn't in the mood to be back in that truck. She didn't feel safe. Mr. Phillips began call bombing Adam Stevens' cell phone from Lori's. 2, 3, 4 times. Each time trying to convince Mr. Stevens to get Lori to get back into the truck. When he called again, an exasperated Mr. Stevens took the cell phone, handed it to Lori, and said, can you just talk to him? And Mr. Phillips had a request. He asked Lori if Terry LaFleur was still in the home. And she said, yeah, I see him over there. He told her to go over to Terry LaFleur. At which point he said, tell Terry that I'm going to come here and kick his ass. Lori will tell you that she did that, but did in a way where she was putting her finger on her temple, kind of like, he's crazy, don't worry about this. Well, Mr. LaFleur was kind of a little young guy. He didn't know what was going on, but he didn't want part of it. He and his buddy left. At some point after Mr. LaFleur left, Mark starts to settle down a little bit. He gives Lori back her cell phone and texts her this message, I'm so sorry, I love you. And Lori will tell you that she believed that this was a sign that Mark was starting to settle down and realize that he had been out of control already. So eventually, as the night reached a second conclusion, she decided, all right, I'll go home with Mark. She said goodbye to Hannah and she ducked into the bathroom, but before she did, there was another incident with Mark where he exploded again. When Lori ducked into the bathroom, she texted Hannah quickly. She says, just getting real. Don't respond to this. I'm deleting this text message. Just letting somebody know what was happening, just in case things escalated later that night. And when Lori got out of the bathroom, she saw that Mark must have gone to the restroom herself and had no idea. She figured she'd get into the truck, she'd drive home, she'd let Mark find a friend or sleep it off someplace else and deal with it. She didn't even get back down to the parking spot before Mark woke. Pulled her out of the car, took her by her arms. He slammed her up against the side of the truck. He was screaming at her about Terry LaFleur, about leaving. And at that point, Lori raised her voice and screamed, stop. Stop, Mark. You've done enough. Hoping that somebody in the parking lot would intervene. hoping that she'd have another Mr. Gierock who could come up and say, this isn't going to happen. Nobody did. And nobody did as Mark grabbed Lori from enough force to be visible bruises on her bicep days after the fact, yanked her all the way around the car, threw her to the passenger side door, slammed the door, and punched the window right where her head was. She'd never seen her husband that angry before. And he was taking her home alone, to her own home. The ride home wasn't any better. Mark was red hot. She was as angry as he was as angry as she'd ever seen. And she described him as like somebody that she didn't even recognize. Not the man that she married. And during that ride, Lori made one of decisions. Number one, she decided that she didn't feel safe staying with Mark that night. As soon as they got home, she was going to get her contact lens case, her eyeglasses, and go find someplace else to stay. Decision number two was a little bit more comfortable. Took off her wedding ring, put it in Mark's hand, and said, "Take this. I don't want it anymore." Thinking that might calm him down, thinking that he could lose her. But here that it worked for a little bit. And Mark said, "Please, please, please, don't do that. Don't take that back. I love you. You're my wife." But Lori left it in his hands. When she got back home, we're going to hear that Lori followed through on her plan. She put a couple of undrink cans of seltzer that Mark had in the car in the kitchen, got her contact lens case and her eyeglasses, and got back into the truck. And the next she saw, Mark was charging out the back door of the home with his fist up, right into her face at the open door. Lori reacted reflexively, going, "No, no, 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 no," thinking that she was about to get punched in the face, but he didn't. When it became apparent that she was actually leaving, Mark said, "Well, you can't leave until I get all of my belongings out of this truck." Walking around to the passenger side of the truck, flinging open the door, and beginning to pile up a pile of property from the center console, the glove compartment, onto the passenger side seat. You'll see a photo of this at some point during the trial. The usual junk that most of us accumulate in our cars in the process of running them: receipts, bills, chewing gum, sunglasses, some canned koozies. And in the process of doing this, he's still yelling and screaming at Lori. And he takes that canned koozie that Mr. Burke something that he gave Lori on her birthday. It has a pair of cartoon breasts on it, and it says "It's my birthday." He threw it at her and said, "That's all you're good for." Lori will tell you that she kind of flipped it back over, marking approximately the spot where the front passenger door was at the time that he was parked. There's another piece of evidence that Mark was going through in reference that will become important later. He said that he found a couple of tokens for free drinks at a local tavern, and he said, "I'm going to take these tokens and go find some women and bring them back to the house." During this process, Lori figured, if I can get my cell phone out and turn on the video, I might be able to capture some of this so that you can see what he's like when he gets in this state. She got her phone out, got it up, didn't quite get the record function set, and then Mark saw the phone and lunged for it, knocking it down to the driver's side floor. Looked at Mark. She saw a face that was filled with sheer rage. She'd never seen him that angry. As soon as they locked eyes, Mark began tearing around the front of the truck to the driver's side. Lori had every reason to believe that what happened when Mark got to that driver's side was going to include the very least more physical abuse, if not her worst fears. You'll hear that she was in a moment of panic as she's put into this situation where she has no idea how to react. That when Mark clears the front of the truck, Miss Phillips' instincts are taking over. That urge to fight or flight takes over as he reaches the side of the truck within an instant of being able to wrench that door open and pull Miss Phillips out. Her instincts took over and she hit the gas. She didn't look back. Miss Phillips will tell you that there's only one reason that she fled. Because she was scared. Because she was reacting to the situation that was presented to her. And you're going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, that nobody's quite sure exactly how Mr. Phillips was injured. I expect the state's investigators and Dr. Reichert even to acknowledge as much. But if there's one thing I expect the evidence to establish, is that this was not a head-on collision. Ms. Phillips did not run Mark Phillips down truck. You're going to see photos of the truck, and you're going to hear from the investigators in this case will tell you that the truck was spotless. In fact, I expect him to testify that the truck showed absolutely no sign that it had been involved in a collision. Dr. Riker will testify that Mark's injuries were not consistent with what we would typically see with an upright pedestrian. And I expect Dr. Riker and others to acknowledge that there are any number of circumstances that could have caused Mark to slip, fall, become caught towards the back end of the truck. You're going to see photographs of an aftermarket rail or a step that Mark installed. Obvious tripping hazard had it reached the area where Ms. Phillips said that he was when she hit the gas. You're going to see that there's plenty of room where Mr. Phillips could have fallen and been dragged for a short period of time. But what we know for a fact is that this accident, this collision, assuming it was Ms. Phillips, didn't occur within her field of vision. It occurred when she was fleeing. And you're going to have a bunch of facts thrown at you throughout this trial, ladies and gentlemen. And at the end of the day, it's going to amount to a jigsaw puzzle with about half the pieces gone. Nevertheless, it's so important to try to figure out what happened, because that'll help you answer those three major questions. Number one, who caused substantial risk of death or great bodily harm? One of them is consistent with what the state's asking for. The other is consistent with Ms. Phillips not being. Number two, was Lori personally aware of the extent of a substantial and unreasonable risk caused by her behavior, not Mark's, at the time that she fled? Which leads us to the why. Was this so objectively unreasonable that it constitutes criminal recklessness under the circumstances, rather than a tragic accident that was caused? And as you're going to hear, there's a tremendous difference in the legal sphere between risking somebody's life for no good reason and reacting, relying on your human instincts because you believe you need to get the statement. One of those is consistent with the guilty verdict, the other is not. And one of the issues that I expect to come up repeatedly is this issue of whether or not Lori knew that Mark did it. And I expect that after you hear all this evidence, your answer will be unequivocally no. Everything happened incredibly fast. You're going to hear about Lori describing how her heart was beating out of her chest, just trying to escape this man in a sense. And we know what Lori was thinking in the moments immediately thereafter, because she began using herself. Amazing contraptions. We're walking around with thousands of times of computing power in our pockets than the Apollo astronauts have when they landed on Earth. And our phones are almost an extension of our very thoughts. And in Lori's case, they're an extension of hers. But what if she texts Hannah Klinsky just moments after leaving Mark and going to the subdivision to hide? He just freaked again. He was at the passenger side of the truck and tried to come at me around the truck, but I took off. I don't even know what to do. He's lost it tonight. He promised he would never touch me. He lied. At 10:57 p.m., again just minutes after fleeing her husband, Lori sent the following text to Mark. I wish you the best, but the best will never be with you. You lost everything tonight because you let your mind get the best of you. I cannot even believe you put your hands on me. Good luck in Bismarck. Lori will tell you that there's a simple reason why she sent him that text. She had no reason to believe that he'd been injured. She had no reason to believe that he'd died. She wanted him to know that this very life had cost him his marriage. And she wanted him to know right after she fled from him. After hiding in the subdivision for a few minutes, Lori waited for Mark to come racing by in the Subaru, the other vehicle that Lori typically drove. And not seeing him there, she began looking for a hotel. She went to the Comfort Inn and there was no room available. She began searching for hotels near her once more, ladies and gentlemen, because she believed that Mark was alive, well, and furious, and she didn't feel safe going back home. Eventually, she made a reservation at the Baymont Inn, and you'll see the footage of Lori driving over to the Baymont to the reception desk. She hands over her driver's license and credit card, and is only told that, well, because you made the reservation so close to midnight, it automatically looks for the following. And by the way, the Baymont's also free. Lori didn't know quite what to do at that point, so she went to Woodman's, used the restroom, and sat in the parking lot thinking that she could just spend a few hours in the truck until Mark sobered up. And during that time frame, she began using her cell phone again. Mr. Burdick told you, she, aside from looking for a hotel, she had a couple of specific searches on her Google. She searched for physical abuse and physical abuse quit. Both were misspelled and both contribute to that finger, so to speak. The characters are right next to one another, but that's what Lori was searching. She wanted to put some context into what had just happened, what was happening in the relationship, how she should feel about this, how Mark should feel about this. And when she found a quote that somewhat encapsulated her feelings of that evening, she copied, pasted, and sent it to her husband. And the user could seem emotional and needy. You can get caught in the trap of catering to him, trying to fill a bottomless pit. But he's not so much needy as entitled. So no matter how much you give him, it will never be enough. You'll just keep coming up with more demands because he believes his needs are your responsibility until you feel drained down to nothing. Lori will tell you once more that when she sent this text, she wanted Mark to read it. She wanted him to reflect on his behavior and how he hurt her. She had no idea whatsoever that he'd been injured. Now, there's no dispute that in this time frame, Lori checked the camera system repeatedly. So here's what you're going to hear about that. The camera system had been disarmed by Mark's phone on February 21st. They've been selling a bunch of items on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, I believe, and the motion detectors kept going off and alerting their phones to the point that Mark shut them down. They weren't rearmed until Lori started looking at some point after she fled Mr. Phillips. And she's going to tell you that the reason that she looked on the cameras was pretty simple. One, she wanted to see if there was any evidence of Mark coming after her in the Subaru. See if Mark had taken the Subaru out to go to a different bar, go hang out with a buddy, or maybe leave the home for the night. And number two, in the back of her mind, she had that comment about Mark saying that he's going to bring some money back to the house. So she started checking the cameras to see if that happened, particularly about the hot tub that they had out by the lake. It's undisputed that Lori Phillips did not delete any video footage from that camera system. And it's undisputed that Mark Phillips would not have been visible from that camera system based on where it was positioned. We're going to show you a video of that, ladies and gentlemen, to show you that Mark's body came to rest in a large snowbank that would have been completely invisible from the camera system that evening. Ultimately, though, it's the camera system that captures the moment in which Lori discovers Mark had been outside and was ultimately dead. Lori at some point decided that she was going to go home. Got cold, she couldn't find a hotel room, and she figured that if she disarmed the cameras, it wouldn't alert Mark when she got back in. When Lori got back in, she went to the restroom and eventually went upstairs to sleep in her bedroom so that Mark didn't look in the main guest room on the floor. At some point before she got up, she rearmed the cameras because that's something that she's gotten in trouble with Mark in the past too. He wanted those cameras operational. So she turned them back in. And ultimately those cameras captured the moment that Ms. Phillips found her husband dead. Now, about 6:30 a.m., Lori gets up. She uses the restroom. She goes downstairs, in her words, to demand an apology from Mark. She flung open the door, figuring that he'd be hungover and sobered up, and all that was there was an unmade bed and a bunch of clothes. This didn't concern her, because she figured that Mark had likely taken the other car out and ended up at a bar or a friend's house or someplace else. Okay, he was out looking for her. So she put on her boots and decided to go out to the exterior garage, look through the side door to see if the Subaru was there. This captures the moment that Lori exits the house. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, that Lori is walking towards the direction of the exterior garage. And you can see the exterior garage door, that almond shaded door on the right garage over there. Doesn't appear to be in distress. Appears almost to be annoyed at that point. Step number 2 depicts her discovery. And this one's much less about what you observe and much more about what you hear. You can can hear Miss Phillips off camera screaming, "Oh my God!" She saw her husband dead inside of the snowbank at the side of the driveway. Step number 3 is Miss Phillips' reaction as she runs back to the house to get her phone and call 911. She's plainly distraught, screaming, yelling, and crying, even well inside of the range where she would have been on camera. The 911 call that follows is difficult to listen to. It depicts somebody who's in the most panicked and worst moments of her life, trying to relate to this 911 dispatcher that her husband was dead. You're going to hear that help arrived approximately 10 minutes after the fact in the form of the Cross County Sheriff's Deputy, Michael Valencia. And Officer Valencia took some initial observations, but among those, he and others described Ms. Phillips as essentially hysterical, distraught, totally beside herself, shaking so hard that she couldn't calm down. And the one question that ultimately came up in the course of investigating whether this was crime or not was, how could Ms. Phillips drive by and not know that Mr. Phillips was there? We're going to talk about that at length, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear from Sergeant Valencia himself, first officer on scene, describing snowbanks that were plowed up approximately 3+ feet high on either side of this long driveway. And he's going to tell you that when he turned into that driveway, he couldn't see Mr. Phillips' body positioned inside of that snowbank until he was literally right on top of it. Sergeant Valencia had a squad car video operating that. We're going to show that to you frame by frame inside of this vehicle. You're not going to be able to see Mr. Phillips inside that snowbank the same route that Ms. Phillips drove off. You won't be able to see him anywhere in that squad car video, as a matter of fact. But aside from the testimony, we're also going to show you some photographs. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Phillips is present in this photograph. This is the view of the, westbound side of the driveway, this horseshoe. And it's viewing directly the direction that Ms. Phillips would have traveled by at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, no natural lighting. At the very edge of the driveway, near that large berm of snow, you can see a tiny Phillips's jacket that he had been wearing at the time. The rest of his body was invisible, ladies and gentlemen. Now that does depict Mr. Phillips deceased and on the ground. But I'm going to show you the dog in this snowbank at the point of his death, making him invisible. I knew that he was completely concealed behind that snow berm, and unless somebody would happen to look by 90 degrees to the right and down in a second or two that they happen to be passing him on the driveway, you're not going to see him. You're going to hear testimony and see footage that Mr. Phillips wouldn't have been visible from behind the truck or behind the house where Lori actually parked the truck. Now you're going to hear that the investigators on scene initially concluded that Lori wasn't at fault. You're going to hear Sergeant Valencia say out loud on the squad car audio that the footprints that he observed in the snow were consistent with what Lori said. She went out looking for him in the garage, went down, saw him laying down, ran back to the house, and ran back to Mark after getting her phone and calling 911. But as more investigators got involved in this, and more people arrived at the scene, they began exploring, well, what if something did go wrong? And that's where we started to get a narrow focus on the evidence. Now, I don't fault the investigators in this case. They're human. But like all humans, they tend to miss the evidence that's right in front of you, suggesting that you might be incorrect. And you're going to hear about several items of evidence in this case that weren't collaborated with Ms. Phillips outright. It wasn't collected. And if there's one question I want you to ask yourselves as you're listening to this evidence, is Not just the evidence that suggested that something wrong had happened, but the evidence that suggested that nothing wrong had happened with the incident. These are emotional cases. I recognize that there are members of Mark's family who loved him in life that are here today because they loved him in death. I'm not asking any of you to turn off your humanity in that process. It's okay to feel empathy for the process that I make of you as we hear this evidence. It's this. Turn on the logical sides of your brain and keep them turned. Because ultimately, it's the facts and not the feelings that'll adjudicate those important questions at the close of this case. What happened to Mark Phillips was tragic, but it wasn't a homicide. This was an ordinary woman in impossible circumstances. Domestic violence victim doing the best that she could in the seconds that she had. At the close of this case, I'm going to ask you to return the only property. Not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Zacher. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take an afternoon break. We'll be running a long time here. Uh, what I ask you, please don't talk about the case with each other during these breaks. We'll take about 10 minutes. I always say 10 minutes.
My name is Michael Valencia. Last name is spelled V as in Victor, Alvencia.
And what is your occupation?
I'm a law enforcement officer with the La Crosse County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been employed?
25 years.
So you were on duty February 22nd, February 23rd, 2019?
The 23rd, yes.
Did you receive a call for service or any kind of call that morning?
Yes, I did. I was a patrol supervisor at that time, and I responded to a person who was down in the snowbank.
Your Honor, the parties have stipulated that the 911 call is expected to be inadmissible. I would ask that we be allowed to play Exhibit 1. Any objection? No objection. You may proceed. I'm having just give it to me. There we go. Okay.
911, what is the address of the emergency? W5414, County Road W, California. Oh my God. What is it? I need you to give me the address one more time, please. W5414, County Road W. Okay, what's going on? My husband is out of the kidney. He's frozen. Oh my God. You said he's frozen? I don't know. He's not moving. Oh my God. He didn't know he was okay. Is he breathing? No, I don't think so. Okay, stay on the phone with me. Do not hang up. I'm going to page some help out, and then we're going to get some medical team to help you here. Hang on 1 second. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's going to sound like I'm hanging up on you, but I'm not. Stay on the phone. Oh, my God. What did happen? Oh, my God. Okay, what's your first name? Lori. What is it? Lori. Okay, what your address you said was W5414 County Road W, like William, correct? Yes. Okay. All right, stay on the phone with me. I'm going to put you through to our medical team. They're going to have a question. Help arrives. Don't hang up. 1 moment. Did you see going to W5414 County Road W and home callback 799-0822? A woman on the phone who found her husband in the snowbank, doesn't believe he's breathing, seems to be frozen. Sending first responders, go ahead. Ma'am, okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know, I feel like I went to the bedroom this morning to the lake chairs and it's like, oh my God, I don't know. Okay, what's going on right now? He's ill. Okay. Are you with him right now? No. How old is he? He's 48. Okay. Is he awake? No. Is he breathing? No, he's not. Okay, we have help on the way, okay? I'm sending the paramedics. Stay on the line, okay? Oh my God, I just didn't know he was on here. All right, if there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now in case we need it later, and listen carefully. Are you right by him now? Yes. Laying flat on his back on the ground. Oh, I can't touch him. I can't touch him. Why can't you touch him? I need you to roll him flat on his back. Pull him flat on his back. Don't hang up the phone. Ma'am, listen to me. Lay him flat on his back. We're going to try to help him, okay? Ma'am, I'm sure he's been here for a long time. There's still all over him. Okay, ma'am, we need to do this until help gets there, okay? We're going to do what we can. Lay him flat on his back. I don't know how to touch him. I don't know how to do that. Okay. Is he face down or face up? No, he's face up. Okay. Is he flat on the ground? No, he's on the side. Okay, roll him to his back. Oh, my God. Roll him to his back. Okay, hold on. Okay. Roll him to his back. Oh, I can't. Listen carefully. Roll him to his back. Did you get him on his back? Try to put him on his back. Ma'am, roll him on his back. Tell me when that's done. Hold on. Okay. You're doing a great job. I need. Ma'am? Saturday, February 23, 2019 06:34 and 30 seconds. Ma'am? I can't see it. I don't know what you want me to do. Okay. Tell me exactly what is laying in the snowbank. Okay. At our house. Not breathing and very, very cold. Okay. Ma'am. Are you able to get him on his back and we'll try to do chest compressions? No, he's too heavy. Okay. When was the last time you saw him? Last night at like 11 o'clock. Okay. He was chasing me down in the truck and I just took off. He was chasing you down in the truck? What? Oh my God. Is that what you said? Yes. Okay. Yes. No, he was out here. Okay. And the last time you saw him was last night? Yes. Okay. All right. I know this is very hard for you, ma'am. Do you want to do CPR right now? There's no reason I can. Okay, please. I know this is difficult. Tell me, please. The ground. He's frozen to the ground right now? Yes. Okay. I'm sending someone to assist you. Please leave everything as you found it, okay? They're all coming as fast as they can right now. Oh my God, Mother. Oh, what happened? Oh my God. Oh my God. Honey. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ma'am, I'm right here. I want to ask you again, do you want to do CPR? Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God, Mark. I'm right here with you until help comes. Oh my God, why is he out here? Can you tell me what happened last night? Yes, we got into an argument. And we got home here, and he was being aggressive, and I took off in the truck, and he tried to stop me, but I didn't know that happened. I really thought he was hurt and went to walk. Oh my God. And then I just assumed he went in the house and went to bed. Oh, I texted some hotel rooms last night. I went to 2 different hotels that didn't work, so I came back here. I slept on the couch thinking he was in the room. And then I went upstairs because I didn't want him to get mad that I came home. So I went upstairs so that he didn't know that I was home. His car was here, and that's when I caught a glimpse of him over here. Okay. Oh my God, he has 2 kids. Okay. You're here. Ma'am, I can give you CPR instructions if you want to do CPR on him. There's no, I'm sorry, I wish that was an option. Okay. Oh my God, Mark. Saturday, 19, 06:39 and 12 Seconds. Oh, I hear ambulances coming. Okay, you let me know when they're right there with him, okay? Please leave everything as you found it, okay? Ma'am, are you in the front of the house or the back of the house? Right on the side. Right on the side of the house. Down the driveway, partially down the driveway. Oh my God, why is it not? Honey, please, like, they're coming as fast as they can, ma'am. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, I want you to stay on the phone with me until they're right there with you. Oh God. I don't. Okay, you can hang up the phone and talk.
And your position now is,
I'm an investigator currently.
okay. Would you like me to call you Investigator Valencia, or would you like me to call you Deputy Valencia?
Sergeant Valencia, Investigator Valencia is fine.
Okay. Your position at the time, just to recap, was?
I was a patrol sergeant on patrol.
Now that you've heard the subject matter of that call, I'm showing you what them are. Are you able to tell us what that?
This is an overview of the Mark and Lori Phillips property.
And is that the location you went to that day?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So what I'm going to do next is, before we get further, I would like Attorney Skemp is queuing that up. Do you recall what time you arrived, or do you recall what time you got the scene or got the call?
The call was around 6:29, 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
About 6:40, I believe, in that area.
At that time, we heard the 911 call. What information did you have available to yourself?
A person who was down in the snowbank, possibly deceased, that there had been an argument the prior evening, and it was information to that nature.
What are your duties and responsibilities at this time?
My duties and responsibilities, I was dispatched along with another deputy, Deputy Stotinger. My job is to get to the scene, assist in any way I can, assess the scene. If there's someone who's deceased, my job is to get initial information, and if it appears as though there may be anything suspicious or something that didn't seem right, to contact investigators, make sure the person, if they are still alive, provide any medical care that I can until first responders arrive.
Does the information you have available affect how you proceed?
It does.
How so?
So initially, on initial response, I do an initial scene assessment to see if there's anything out of the ordinary and anything that would look suspicious. Again, just to try to secure the scene as best I can.
Were you the first person on scene here?
Yes, I was.
And is part of your responsibilities, did I hear that you communicate with first responders and other similar?
Yes, but I would typically any or what I had, if there was something important, I would relay that to them, which they would relay to first responders.
So I have pulled up on the large screen, or Attorney Skemp has pulled up on the large screen, Exhibit 2, which you've identified as the Phillips property.
Yes.
I would ask if you could, or I could, if you could kind of walk us through. I want to start with, I guess, that driveway on the left. What can you kind of tell me there and how the property is set up? And where does that driveway on the left-hand side, where does that connect to the main road, or does it connect to the main road?
Yes, the driveway that's on the left-hand side connects with County Road W. It is on the western side of the property. The house is on the right side of that drive. At the very end of that, toward the top of that photograph, there's a concrete pad, and then
Before
there's
you go on, just to kind of set and make the record. So because that driveway that we're talking about connects to County M, or excuse me, W, if I said the W driveway, would you know what that meant?
Both entrances to this property, the one that you see on the left and the other loops around underneath the trees that you can see on the right side. It's somewhat angled. That would also connect with County Road W, but that's at the intersection or closest to the intersection of County Road M and W.
Okay. So if I called the one driveway the W driveway and the other driveway the M driveway, starting with the W driveway, could you point that out to us on the map?
That would be on the left side of the driveway, on the left side of the residence.
And the M driveway then, that is the one that is the right side of that horseshoe.
Correct.
Okay. And that goes towards the intersection, did I get that right? Goes towards the intersection of W and M.
That's correct.
Okay. So going up from the W driveway, can you tell us what that structure is?
Straight up, the W driveway would be this more square structure with a smaller structure next to it. That would be what was called the garage.
And is that, I guess, and then to the right of that, or going towards the M driveway at the other side of the horseshoe, is that the house?
Yes.
What is that structure above the house?
That structure was referenced as a man cave.
Is it a standalone structure?
Yes, it is.
So between the house and what you just called the man cave, were you able to walk that stretch of driveway?
Yes.
Do you have an idea of how much distance exists between the man cave and the main house?
I would estimate that as approximately 20 feet.
So Sergeant Valencia, I'm going to show you what has been marked as Exhibit 3. Are you able to tell us what this is?
This would be the in-car video from my squad.
Those numbers on the left-hand side of the screen, do those mean anything to you?
The numbers on the left-hand side show my GPS location. It'll show things like my speed, that's really what you can gather from that would be my GPS location and the speed that I'm traveling at that time.
Okay. Can I ask where you are right now?
Right now I'm near I'm on Highway 35 approaching the county line that leads into Trempealeau County.
Okay. I just wanted to stop the video momentarily, which is at the video time shows 6:31:08. It looks like it's snowing in the background. Is that accurate, or is that just?
That is accurate.
Okay. Can you tell us how hard it is snowing?
It's not snowing, it's not real hard, but it is snowing and it's noticeable.
Oh, go ahead. We're starting the video from that point.
Streets are gonna be County Road W and Socket Road. 17-year-old male. Our caller found him laying outside building. He is cold to the touch, not breathing. He may have been outside 11 p.m. Your narrative has been updated.
I am pausing the video at 6:36:14. Sergeant Valencia, I guess the sound we're hearing, it sounds like voices. Is that what you had testified to in terms of what you knew?
Yes, that's dispatch coming across the radio with additional information and updating me as I drove.
Okay. Did you receive any additional information other than what we're hearing now?
No, I hadn't had any other information other than what my dispatch center was providing me.
Did it stop snowing at this time?
No, it's still snowing lightly.
Okay, so it is still snowing lightly
Yes,
here? Okay.
yes, it is.
I am resuming the video at 6:36:14.
Your narrative has been updated. Your narrative has been updated. Your narrative has been updated. One for the area. Where do you located at? W5414 County Road W. She hasn't given the exact location there. They're right at the intersection of that one.
130. She's advising she's on one of the sides of the house. Way down the driveway.
That was us attempting to stop the video at a moment. Sorry. We have stopped the video at 6:40:06. Sergeant Valencia, can you tell us what we're looking at?
So I'm approaching the Phillips property from the west. The house is the structure that you see up in front, and in the snowbank between the house and me, you can see there's two black dots there. That's what I can see. That would be Lori Phillips and Mark Phillips.
But did you know that at this time?
With the description that dispatch had given me, I could see that there was movement there. I also deactivated my siren. I slowed way down just to observe the scene and get a view of what it looked like from a distance. And I could clearly pick out the two shapes of Mark and Lori in the snow. They were dark spots. One was moving, one was not.
So you had indicated that that's the house that you had talked about earlier on the left?
Correct.
And we're on the side that where the W driveway is close to where your squad car is.
That is correct.
Okay. And I guess, can you point out for the, where the black spot you're referring to is?
Do you want me to go to the screen and do that?
I have a pointer, but I'm going to need a tutorial on how to use it. So if you could just point for the sake of doing it right now.
If I could reach up that high. The two dots I'm speaking of are right here. Here's the house, and right here are the two dots that I'm speaking of.
And that is Mark and Lori.
Mark and Lori, correct.
About how far are you able to estimate how far you are from the house?
Right now I'm approximately 200 yards, maybe 175 yards away from them in the house.
We are restarting the video at that point.
Dispatch update.
Got
Dispatch update.
Got
Your Honor, we're having a problem with our exhibit as we try to stop the video. We are attempting to stop the video.
Tell you what, let's take it off.
If we could take just a moment.
Yeah, we'll take it off the screen once you get there. Let us know.
Thank you.
We'll take it off the screen once you get there. Let us know.
And I think
thank you.
so. We have stopped the video at 6:40 and 30 seconds and are putting it back on the big screen. Sergeant Valencia, can you tell us what we're looking at?
So I pulled into the driveway. It would be the W driveway on the west side of the house. You can see Lori in the background, and Mark would be just off in front of her and to the right side of that, along that snowbank. Additionally, when I pulled in right in the center of the video in the middle of the driveway, there's a shiny object that caught my eye.
Can you point that shiny object out to us?
Yes. Would be this object right here.
And you indicated that that caught your eye.
Yes.
Why did it catch your eye?
It looked out of place considering I'm driving into an area. It does not look plowed. And there's a shiny object. It drew my eyes went right to it when my lights struck that object, and it appeared out of place.
Was there a glare that you saw?
A glare?
I guess a glare from the object.
Yes. That's that reflection that you can see off of that object.
And are we looking at the W driveway?
Yes, we are.
And is going back to the aerial view that you had discussed, that structure directly behind it, is that the garage?
Yes, it is.
And then can you describe to us how, and we'll talk more about how the driveway, I guess, what direction does the driveway go? Does it, as it connects to the other M driveway?
So this driveway, right now I'm heading north in a northerly direction. The driveway loops around to the right and goes in between the house and the man cave, and then it comes back to near the intersection of County Road W and County Road M.
We are starting the video again at 6:40:30.
Hi there, hon. What's your name? Lori. Hey, Lori. All right.
Oh my God, he's 48.
Did you guys have an argument last
Yes,
night?
we did.
Was he drinking too?
Yes, I didn't know he was out like this.
All right. Stop there.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, I got evidence and stuff out here, so. Go ahead, Jen. Why don't you sit back here with me real quick, okay? Just be careful. Be careful. Come back here. Back here. Just step by the front of my car real quick, okay? Just step by the front of my car. I'll be with you in just a second. I didn't see anything out here other than hers. Okay, what's your name?
Lori.
Lori. What's your last name?
Phillips.
Okay, step right over here. Okay, so tell me what happened. You saw him about 11 o'clock or so last night?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Take some deep breaths, okay? Look at me. Take some deep breaths.
Oh my God, I did not know he was out here. So we had an argument last night. And he was coming around the truck to come and get me. So I took off. His door was still wide open, but I didn't know that he was like I don't know what happened. I didn't know he was there. Oh my God.
Okay. Stay here. Stay with me. Okay.
Yes, Mary.
Okay. Are these your footprints here? Just
I
yours?
thought he was. I went to see
Okay.
if he was because I got up and I went to the bedroom and I went to see where he was. And so I went to see if his car's gone.
Okay.
And
Okay. His car's normally in the garage.
I don't know. always make us talk about my cars in the garage, but when he was in the bedroom. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
Why don't you, 135. So you guys just got married, you said?
Yes,
Okay, when was that?
December 29th.
Okay. Okay, how long have you been together?
3 years.
Did you just moved in here then, or
No.
you've been living here for a while? Does he have any medical conditions?
He's diabetes. Oh my god, I feel sick all the time.
It's Lori, did LOR? Hi? Okay.
My god, I came home last night and I never even saw him.
So I'm out at a residence by W. William, it's by William and M. Mary, right at the intersection there. Got a 48-year-old male kind of found in the snowbank here. Last seen about midnight last night, got in an argument with his wife. She didn't know he was out here. She either thought he was in his little man cave or got in his car and left. But he's in the snowbank 100. I didn't see any footprints other than hers around him. There's some glasses that are laying in the middle of the driveway here, kind of between him and the road. But other than that, there were no tracks around them when I got here. So. About 11 o'clock last night, they got into some kind of an argument. She thought he left. With that, it's like it's kind of a cluster of buildings all in one area. I'm guessing he had been drinking as well. I don't know. We've notified him, but they're notifying him now. I don't know who it'll be. Well, there's footprints all over. I took as many as I could right away, but first responders were right behind me too. So the only tracks I see were her tracks, where it looked like she came out of it. It looks like she came out of the house, went to the garage, directly to the garage, came down here, went back to the house, maybe to get her phone, and then came back to him. So those are the only tracks I see. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't see any. The only thing I see is he's got kind of a bloody nose and he's kind of tipped upside down, but he could be easily fell that way. So, I haven't gotten that far with her yet. Okay. Not yet. They got the roads pretty well taken care of so far, so yeah. I mean, I don't think it would hurt to have somebody come out. We'll just cover him up for now and have somebody come out. Yeah, it's right at M&W. Last name is Phillips. I've only got his wife so far. Mark Phillips, sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. are you doing? I waited in the line and I did try transferring 135 over to you and 139. Didn't go through on your end. Okay. I just talked to 104 for the. Is that the phone you want them? Yep. Yep. I had perfect service here. It's probably just right over there. I couldn't. Valencia. Okay. Hello. Hi, Lisa. Valencia calling. How are you? So I have a 48-year-old male who was found in his alongside his driveway. He got into an argument with his wife last night, and she either thought he was going to man cave or got in his car to leave. They both had some alcohol to drink last night. Well, I didn't see him. She went out to the garage. His car's still there. And she saw him laying in the snow. We can't even get a temperature on it, so not that frozen. He's diabetic as well. She didn't know he was living in this building until this morning. The only set of tracks I could see was just one set of footprints that appeared to come from the house down to him and then back to the house and back. There were no other footprints in the driveway or anything else. His apparent glass is about halfway down the driveway, but other than that, I didn't see anything. There weren't a lot of tracks around him. Okay. Yeah, no, I think you're fine. Sounds good. All right. Hello. Okay, sounds good. I just talked to the Emmy at Lisa. So, no. No. Okay, sounds good. Okay, sounds good. All right. Thank you. We're good, fellas. Okay. So, need our names or anything like that? Yeah, I should get all that. I need, okay. What is this one? Daniel R. Manigal. MANIGEL. 316 of 83. Just a phone number for you. 498 545. Okay. STRAUHBHAAR. Okay, what's your middle name? With a V? What's your middle name? What? ROCK. Okay. Okay. What's your birthday? 4/9/28. Phone number for you? 669-2087. Okay. Anthony. Edward. KROTLIN. Okay. Date of birth. 030376. Phone number 879. Okay. 07. Okay. Jeremy? Okay. What's that? Richard? See, oh, okay. Birthday? Okay. So Corey's the odd one out here. Everybody else has March birthday. Everybody. Right? Right? Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Sounds good. We'll figure it out. Yeah. But tell us gotta kind of check out. All right. You guys have a good. I got called out at 3 o'clock for some crap they had on the interstate. Some chick shooting at some kid. So, yeah, she was from over by Oxford or something like that. Stole a car, stole a gun. State patrol was chasing her. She buried her car. Right? I know it. All right, you guys have a good one.
Sergeant Valencia, the video has ended on that screen. Before the screen went off, that structure, and I guess, we've identified, you've talked about the garage, you've shown us the house. Is that other structure, is that the man cave?
Yes, the structure that would be to the right and farther away would be the man cave.
Okay. Why did you call it the man cave?
It had some type of signage on it, I believe, that said man cave on it.
So that wasn't your term?
No.
Okay. So, Your Honor, I am handing Sergeant Valencia with 4, 5, 6. Before I do that, Sergeant Valencia, those sunglasses we talked about previously, did you have to drive around those?
Yes, I did. When I entered and saw that reflection or glint off of the glasses, I felt at the time that it was something important that I should not drive over, considering the road conditions, the intersection. I felt it best to pull into the driveway. But when I saw that, I drove away from them, to stay away from them, to leave them preserved as much as I could.
So I've handed you what exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you tell us what is on those pictures?
These are photographs of Mark Phillips.
We're going to be asking to put this on the screen now. So if there's anyone who is live streaming or just doesn't want to see it, exhibits 4, 5, 6, and then a few thereafter are pictures of the decedent's body.
I just want to say trigger warning. If you cannot watch this, they are going to be showing the body.
Here's the Elmo.
You maybe should use the Elmo right now.
While they're setting that up, those pictures you have, you said that that was the body
Yes.
of, okay. What can you tell us about, I guess, the position of the body in relation to the driveway and the structures that you've already identified? Can you give us a description while we're waiting for it to queue up?
Yes, the description would be Mark was alongside the driveway between the driveway and the house. He was closest to the driveway. His head was into and along the snowbank. There was a snowbank at his head side, which kind of also, there was a spacer wrapped around behind him where they had piled snow from the winter. There was a tree and a birdhouse located inside that area as well between him and the snowbank. And he was more in a, with his north-south direction with his feet on the northern end and his head pointing toward the south into the snowbank.
Restate that last part and explain his head is facing which way?
His head is facing in a southerly direction and his feet are in the in a northern direction as you would look at this photo. The driveway is in the area of where his hands are located. That would be the driveway, and where his left, or correction, his right hand is where the end of the snowbank is that ran along the driveway.
Okay, so that's his right hand, the elbow, you said that's about the end of the snowbank there?
That's correct. And it's hard to see in this photograph, but that's the edge of the snowbank where it was plowed along the driveway.
And is his head facing towards the house, or is his head and hands facing towards, or his head facing towards the road?
It is facing towards the road.
So this, that is exhibit 6. I'm now showing you exhibit 4 again. You describe the position of the snow now that you have a different angle.
Okay, you can see his right arm, the elbow area is right up against the edge of that snowbank. His head and his shoulders are against that snowbank as well, and his hands are toward the driveway.
That was exhibit 4, 5. Point out the edge of the driveway there.
The edge of the driveway would be where his hands are in that area. More his left hand than his right hand. His right hand is closer to the snowbank.
I am going to be handing you what's been marked as exhibit 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, I'm going to use the Elmo, but what's been marked as exhibit 7 are those the sunglasses you previously told us about?
Yes, they are.
And were you already asked about how far away they were from the body now?
I haven't been asked. They were approximately 15 feet away from his body in the center of the driveway. They were farther south from him and in the center of the driveway.
It's been marked as exhibit 8. Can you identify, can you tell us about those tracks? I guess, are there tracks in the snow?
Yes, there are tracks in the snow.
Okay, can you describe them to us?
Describe the tracks, tire tracks or the footprints.
Oh,
There are footprints in the snow. That would most likely be from the first responders after they arrived. When I initially drove up, I think you could see from the video, there were no tracks, footprints, or anything like that when I drove into the driveway. These would be the sunglasses in the middle, and then there's the, looks like the bottom end of the vehicle in the upper part of the photograph.
so am I correct that these footprints and tire tracks were not there before you?
That is correct.
At this point, I guess now that, you know, at the point where the end of the squad video, who was on scene?
I'm not sure when this photograph was taken.
Okay. During the squad video we had watched, can you identify some of the people you were talking to?
They were the first responders and tri-state personnel.
It looked like there was an officer with a beard. Were you able to, or would you be able to identify him?
That would be Deputy Stotinger. There was also a tri-state personnel there, I believe, also who had a beard, but the one in the law enforcement uniform was Deputy Stotinger.
Who's Lisa?
Lisa would be the medical examiner who contacted me at my request.
I'm putting exhibit 9 on the Elmo. I'm trying to. What can you tell us about this picture?
This photograph is, I believe, myself and Deputy Stotinger. I had backed my squad up to, I'm not quite sure the reason why, but in the foreground, and it's difficult to see, would be Mark Phillips' body covered by a white sheet. And this, facing this direction earlier, along with a tree, and in the background is County Road W running east and west.
Describe kind of the, I guess, the way the snowbank is and edges into the driveway.
The snowbank here is pushed back away from the driveway. Exactly where the edge of it is, I cannot tell, but it appears as though they plowed somewhat into the grassy area.
Then marked as exhibit 10. That gave you, I guess, is that the same thing or same kind of better angle? And that is Mr. Phillips' white sheet.
Correct. It looks as though his feet may be sticking out from underneath it. I cannot tell from this angle.
Then marked as exhibit 11. Can you see the edge of the driveway in this photo?
I cannot see the edge of the driveway. I can see the edge of where they plowed the snow.
Okay. So can you describe that in where the edge of the plow mark?
It may be easier if I step up to the screen to do that.
This line right here is the edge of the snowbank, which you can see running vertically straight up the top of the screen. Here's the sand which extends towards the driveway. Into that area that has been plowed.
The picture we had previously seen of the body, that's, at this point, nothing has been done to disturb the body. Is that accurate or no?
That is correct.
Putting what's been marked as exhibit number 12 on the Elmo. What are we looking at in relation to the driveway, snowbank, property?
In this photograph, in the foreground, you can see Mark's body covered up with a white sheet. Behind it, And at his head is also the plowed area, the snowbank, and where he came to rest against the snowbank. In the background are the tree and the birdhouse that I referenced. And in the background of that is the residence. In the upper right of the photograph, you can see the intersection of County Road M and County Road W.
And is there something up on the house there?
Yes, there's a camera, which is a small dot right on the corner of the house.
Did you personally do anything with the camera footage, though?
I did not.
Are you able to say whether that camera could see him?
I don't believe that it can, based on the position of the camera and the snowbank and the height of it.
So are we looking down? Did I hear that you don't think that you could see it, the
I-
body from that camera?
I don't believe that you can see the body from that camera. I think the snowbank obscures his body.
So if there's another group, this would be a good time to break.
Okay, and Judge, I was just going to suggest the way we've organized these, we're now moving from position to what else is on the scene and then transitioning to other witnesses. So if the court would prefer, that would be,
Why don't we
I would
take,
agree this is a good time to break.
let's take a break. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end for today. If you could come at 8:30 tomorrow morning. 8:30 tomorrow morning. One thing is, again, please don't talk about the case. I usually make a joke that your family and friends will probably turn to you and say, hey, so tell me what's going on in the trial. And the really easy answer is, there's this mean, nasty judge who told me I can't say a word. So just blame it on me. I'm totally willing to take the heat. Otherwise, we'd like to see you here at 8:30. We'll start up at 8:45, assuming everything is going well. If there are any issues, you have any questions, talk to Terry or Kevin, or call if something comes up. Give us a call and we'll try to get back to you. But otherwise, have a good evening. We'll see you then.
And that is day 1 for the trial. I'll be back tomorrow for day 2. 2, 3, and 4 are long days, if I remember correctly. And then the verdict will just fast forward all the way to the verdict. Past verdict watch. So it'll be a couple of days, guys. We'll be watching Lori Phillips and see if she is guilty or innocent. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night, you guys. Bye.